Hello everybody. Welcome to Coffee, Love, and Books. My name is Michelle, and today I'm going to be ranking the Fellowship of the Ring. Okay, so I'm gonna do the disclaimer, the preface that I love all of these characters. None of them are bad characters. They are amazing. I adore them. This is my preference. You have your own preference, and if you want to comment that down below, I'd absolutely love to discuss these amazing, awesome characters with all of you. But I'm just gonna share my opinion on how I like, who I like the best, who I like a little bit less, and I'm really excited to share this with all of you. So let's go. I'm excited to talk about how much I love each and every one of these characters, and let's just jump right in to number 9. Alright, so number 9, very shockingly to my 9-year-old self, who had the biggest fictional crush on this character, is Legolas. Legolas is a character that I loved so much when I was little. I had the my sister and I were absolute fangirls of Legolas, and I think it was definitely because of the movie and Orlando Bloom and stuff. But I think as time has gone on and I've just fallen deeper in love with the rest of the Fellowship and their depth, Legolas he's just a little bit of a less interesting character to me personally. I love just how ethereal he is and how just above it all, like just he's an elf and he's awesome, and I really love seeing him on page. But I think compared to a lot of the other characters, he doesn't get as much exploration, I would say. He's not as prominent on the page, especially as he is in the movies, and I just, like, that's why he's number 9. But I love him. Okay, I'm not gonna say that every time, but I do. Okay, moving into number 8, which is Gimli. I love Gimli. I think he's just so awesome to have on the page. I love John Rhys-Davis's performance as him in the movie. I do think they kind of misused him as more of a comic relief character in the movies, and oh, I forgot to mention this earlier, but I'm definitely going to be trying to go mostly by the books in this video, but I can't deny that the movies have completely influenced my perception of these characters, especially with like Aragorn. So there's definitely going to be a little bit of movie influence in there. But Gimli, he is sassy, he's gruff, he is like that lovable, sweet, amazing character underneath all of that. And I think the reason he's ranked a little bit lower is, again, like Legolas, he's not as prominent on the page. And as much as I love his reaction, I love the Mines of Moria and like seeing his character development through his grief, and we get to see the absolute devastation through Gimli, and I just love that. I love Gimli. He's amazing. And we're gonna move on in a second. But him and Legolas, they're just such a dynamic duo, and I love them on the page together. They're the best bromance ever, and I love them so much. Alright. So, moving in to number 7, I put Pippin, and I think this is one of those that will probably change depending on when I reread the books, when I rewatch the movies. I love Pippin. He is such an awesome, playful character. He just does reckless things. He does stupid things. I love him and Gandalf's relationship. I love how he just like does stupid things, and I love just how upbeat and funny he is. I love Pippin. He's awesome, and he is so fun to read about. Seeing him go on his own adventures with Gandalf and the King of Gondor, and performing, oh my goodness, he was so heroic in the Battle of Minas Tirith. I don't know battles or anything, people, so he was so heroic and so amazing and so awesome, and I love him. I love the amazing, incredible things he does. And again, Tolkien really loves using these hobbits to show that the littlest people can do incredible things. And I just love, oh my god. See, I told you this was going to be a rave about every single character. Okay. We're moving in. My computer screen just magically zoomed in. Moving into number 6 is Merry. And the reason I put Merry above Pippin, I think, is just because of his relationship with Éowyn and that one battle. I just thought it was so beautiful and dynamic. I love Merry as kind of this leader of the hobbits at first. How he's taking this big brother role and how he always takes care of Pippin. How he's just so honest and good and mature, and I just really appreciate him, and I really love his role in fighting against the Witch King and his just utter bravery and camaraderie. I love Merry. I think he's awesome, and he and Pippin are him and Treebeard are I love how these characters relate to one another. It makes all of them so much better, which makes it so much harder to rank them. Okay, so coming in at number 5, we have Boromir, who is so amazing. I think the reason Boromir has gotten so popular in later years is because he is more of a morally gray character, but not really. I think in Boromir we see Boromir, I think, definitely exemplifies who we are, whereas Aragorn is who we want to be. Boromir just wanted to save his country. Like, he had good intentions, and my golly, that scene, he's going from like the main antagonist in that moment to like the biggest hero, and him being him being his funeral, his send-off, just Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli just like showing their honor for him, and I love him. I love how he saved Merry and Pippin. I love his kindness, and he's amazing. So coming in at number 4 is Frodo. Frodo was kind of hard for me to place because I adore his character, but in a way that is less emotional. Like, I just respect his character and what he does so much, and yet at the same time I'm like, I don't know if he gets the same emotional response out of me as a lot of these other characters do, but my golly, Frodo, he is strong, he's brave, he just wants a quiet life, kind of like Bilbo, but also he's more adventurous than Bilbo was. The conflict in his heart is amazing. The conflict with the ring is just beautiful and awesome. How he is good to Gollum, even when he knows this probably isn't a good idea, how he spares Gollum's life and how that leads him to eventual victory is beautiful. I love his kind heart. I love his strength. I love his relationship with Sam. I love his brains, and just, I think Frodo, definitely an underrated character, but also such a conflicted and amazing and awesome character who goes through so much, and you're rooting for him so hard. Like, you really, 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 really want him to succeed, and oh my goodness, when he does, and the end is so bittersweet because it kind of switches over. I'm really definitely getting off track, but at the end we have him and Sam, and him leaving was heartbreaking. Him not getting to be in the Shire for the rest of his days was so sad. It was really sad. And I love Frodo. He's so awesome. And all right, we're gonna move on to number 3, which is Gandalf. I love Gandalf. I think some of my favorite moments are where he's being really stern and being really fatherly, I guess you could say, Gandalf is wise and he is strong and he is capable and he is that character that you always want to be there because you know that he can do the hard things. And I just love Gandalf. I think he is the best his mentor ever. Like, I just enjoy him so much. And losing him even temporarily in the story is so hard because you know without him it's going to be so much harder on Frodo. He's awesome. Like, he's so powerful. And I love Gandalf so much. Okay, so coming in at number 2 is Aragorn. Aragorn is just, he's so ideal, I guess you could say. I mentioned earlier that Boromir is who we are and Aragorn is who we want to be. Aragorn is an ideal. He is a finish line. He is who we want to become. He is brave and strong and capable and mysterious and just so utterly almost perfect that it's kind of hard not to love him. I love ideal characters. I know gray characters or like more conflicted characters tend to be really interesting and awesome, but I just love having characters who are so much better than the typical human and who can do incredible and amazing things and have a hard time doing it but will still go about it. And I love how Aragorn helps the Fellowship. I love his respect for the hobbits. He is such a important and capable person, and yet he shows respect to Frodo and to Sam and to Merry and Pippin. And I just utterly adore him and how he is a protector and how kind he is and just awesome. I love him. He is just great. I wish I had better words, but I love Aragorn. I think he's amazing and dynamic and awesome and who we want to be when we grow up. Okay. And speaking of who we want to be when we grow up, Samwise Gamgee. He's number 1. He is the bestest ever. Okay. Out of all the characters that make me cry, I think Sam is at the highest. Him being himself and him being so loving and so loyal and so just, he is so I'm literally like okay, all right, I'm gonna take a step back. Tolkien uses Lord of the Rings to explore manhood and what it means to be a man and the Fellowship is our way of looking at that. So people will complain a lot about there not being a lot of female characters in the Lord of the Rings, and honestly I think that's largely due to Tolkien not being as comfortable with writing female characters as he is about writing about masculinity, and that's totally okay because he does such a darn good job at it. The Fellowship is our way of looking at these different types of men. The Aragorn, who is basically like so capable and amazing and can make the hard calls and do the hard things that people like Boromir, who's more conflicted and more focused on his country's ambitions than he is about the ultimate right. And then there's Gandalf, who is gruff and sometimes a little bit harsh, but ultimately is so amazing and kind-hearted and wise. There's Gimli, who is gruff and easily annoyed and easily angered, and there's Legolas, who's kind of prideful and above it all and ethereal, and then there's Frodo, who is our hero, who does incredible, amazing things, and Merry and Pippin, and then there's Sam, who is my favorite of all of them. Samwise Gamgee is He is so beautifully loyal. I feel like to fully understand how amazing Sam is, you have to look at the moments where he shines. Be with the spider after he thinks Frodo is dead, and how his thoughts don't immediately go to, okay, this is my duty. I have to take the ring to Mordor. I have to do this. He's like, no, I'm not supposed to be the hero. I'm supposed to be the gardener. I'm supposed to be the servant. I'm supposed to be the one who supports Frodo, and you cannot be gone, Frodo. You can't. You're not allowed to leave me to do the heroic stuff. I thought that was so beautiful because it says so much about Sam's heart and how his heart isn't being the hero. It's not being the big, amazing, awesome person. And that also gives so much weight to him choosing to go with Frodo in the first place. Or being forced. You know. Him choosing to go in the first place after he doesn't even want to do these big heroic acts. He wants to be at home dating the girl he ends up marrying and having he wants to be at home in the Shire being peaceful and sweet like he is. He's simple-minded. He doesn't have these big grand aspirations, but he takes what he is good at and he goes with it. He is loyal and he is kind and he is fierce to protect those that he loves. And I just absolutely adore him and Frodo's relationship. I adore how he is just so different than our typical male protagonists in fantasy stories. We typically see the Aragorn, who is amazing. I mean, I just talked about how much I love Aragorn, but the Samwise is the much more subtle and sweet kind of hero, who we don't often immediately see, but once you see it, wow. I think through Sam, Tolkien gets to explore a part of Christianity, and that is the first shall be last and the last shall be first. The servant will be the greatest, and I think that's a beautiful tribute to Sam, who is just he is such a servant, and he is so good and not self-serving, and he will do what's right, but he yearns for a simple and quiet life, and yet he will go headlong into awful, horrific danger to do the right thing. Alrighty, so now that I've gotten all the words out of the way, I can't even. I'm just so excited. So that is me ranking the Fellowship of the Ring. Do you have different picks? Do you disagree with any of my reasonings? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to discuss this amazing series, these amazing characters. They're the best ever. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching. I will see, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to give this video a like and a subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next Saturday. Bye!